Welcome to the Artist Academy podcast. I'm your host, Andrea Earhart, and I am so excited that you're here to catch the weekly replay of my laid-back yet very inspiring conversations with other full-time professional artists. The purpose of this series is to show aspiring artists that it is completely possible to have a great career in the arts. And if you ever want to tune in and have your questions answered in real time by myself or featured guests, then just check out the schedule over at facebook.com/groups/Artist Academy every Tuesday to catch us on live. I'll see you there. This episode is sponsored by the Artist Academy Advanced Membership, a program for artists who want to up-level their art game by taking it from a hobby or a side hustle to a full-time six-figure art business. With weekly trainings that include step-by-step proven art business techniques, plus painting tutorials from yours truly and other guest artists who are masters in their field, you will be well equipped to learn and grow into the highly skilled and highly profitable artist you know you're meant to be. I've figured out what it takes to build my own six-figure art business, and now my heart is set on teaching aspiring artists like you to do the same. It's not hard, but it does require your time and dedication. So, if you're up for the challenge, go to advancedmember.com. That's advancedmember.com to learn more. This week's episode features an up-and-coming photographer from my hometown, Katy Sarnowsky. This was kind of an on the whim podcast episode in that I asked Katy the day before she came to visit me if I could record our conversation. The purpose being that I get several messages from artists or just new businesswomen in general wanting to pick my brain. So this would be a chance for anyone to be a sort of fly on the wall during our coaching session. Creating something out of nothing is hard, right? And there is absolutely no roadmap to success in the arts. But in this conversation, I try to help Coach Katy while she's in the very beginning of her business. I think this episode is relatable to anyone who is just starting out in business, specifically in the arts, and when you just don't know what steps to take next. Katy and I have known each other for over 20 years. We also talked for over 3 hours in this one sitting, but I won't bore you, so I had my editor edit it down into what they think would be the most informative and inspirational talking points for you to listen. I give Katy some ideas for her business towards the end of this episode, and even though most listening are not photographers, I really think that you can use this type of idea and implement it in your own business. But let me know what you think about this week's episode with Katy Sarnowsky. Okay, so to get this started, if you just want to kind of describe where you are right now.
I'm Katy. I'm a photographer, a mom, an advocate. Yeah. I'm also a coach, a lifestyle coach.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I am just doing it all right now. And right now I'm at the point where I'm writing everything down, and I have these goals and these big dreams that I'm wanting to fulfill and really go forward in my photography, and just kind of figuring out what the next step is. And because that next step is sometimes hard, but I dive into my personal development and I dive into my devotions every single day. And by doing that, I'm just getting all the steps that I need to take, and opportunities keep coming up, just like this one. And I just learned about a photography group that it goes on every month, and I'm going to go to that on the 20th.
Is it here locally?
Mm-hmm.
In Springfield or Bolivar?
It's in Springfield. It'll be at Big Whiskey's. I don't know if that's where they always have it, but it's just a group. Yeah, it's just a group of photographers, and they just get together and talk and have fun, and and that's the biggest thing that I've learned is networking and community.
Yeah.
Have been the biggest things for me, and have been the things that have helped me get out of my stuck feeling that I was in for my whole life.
Actually, I think it would be really relatable if you, like, I know that we talked a little bit about this before turning on the mic, but if you want to just talk about a little about your, like, feeling of being stuck, and just because I think it can be really relatable, and just kind of talk about, just where you are, like, what you've done so far in your photography career, and, like, just stuff like that.
Yeah. So I think I'm from a small town. Like
my town?
Yeah,
same town.
We're from the same small town.
Yeah.
We went to high school together.
Graduating class of 2010.
10.
You had 10?
2000.
Oh, no.
No,
Sorry.
we had 24.
24 people.
Whoever's listening to this, I might be wrong on that number. But 27, 24, something like
mine
that.
was 32, which was actually a huge class. And so in the 20s is about it. Like, Wheatland's what, population? 370?
371.
Yeah.
Each population sign has something different. So even the town is stuck. I don't know.
It's around there.
But no, like, small town living is great. There's a lot of benefits and a lot of great things that I've got from growing up in a small town. But I do feel like it's hard to dream big. It's hard to know how to dream big. You know, because we even talked about this, like, even our parents or our moms, you know, they were where they were and they were comfortable where they were. And so your childhood and all your growing up really shapes you into who you are. And, you know, you do have to get to a point where it's time to find your own way. And I think that's where I definitely was stuck. Like, I have always been my parents' child that had no problem jumping on a plane, going to New York, and, you know, spending a summer there, and which I did that, and that was the most amazing time that I have always had. But then, like always, which I just recently found out my fear holding me back, which relates so much to me being stuck, is I had a fear of what was going to happen if I actually succeed, if I actually, you know, because I was in New York, I almost didn't get on the plane to come back home.
Oh, really?
Like, I know I'm that person who could do that, but then that fear controlled me. And in my personal development, like Girl Wash Your Face, she talks so much about fear in there. And letting go of that fear, and I've only been able to do that by finding out who I am. And I'm only able to do that by personal development. Yeah. I'm like a huge advocate for personal development because it's the thing that's got me unstuck. And
me too, though.
Really. Like, I was stuck in the way of, like, I was in art school. I changed my major 3 times, like the cliche. And I wouldn't finish class. Like, I wouldn't finish. Like, I would stop going to class because I've gone through a lot of different things. I always put my love and passion into love for a boyfriend. Yeah. Or a fiance. And, you know, I could try to dive into to figure all that out, but that doesn't matter anymore, you know? But
she's happily married.
I am happily married. We have 3 kids. And, but it's still, like, I always put my love and my passion into the things that were comfortable, into the things that I knew I could be good at, instead of taking those risks. And I think I know a lot of people could definitely relate to that, because it's hard to take that next step or to even know. Like, the questions that I have written down in my book that I wanted to ask Andrea was, like, how do you even find resources to apply to put your stuff in a gallery, or to even, like, you know, go and try these things out, because they don't just come to you. You have to look for them. Yeah. Or you have to network, which is why networking is so good. But before a year ago, I was just living in the motions. Like, I was just rolling, you know, just living my life. I would wake up, I'd take care of my little guy. He's almost 4 now in August. And, I mean, life was good. Life was, you know, happy. But my heart wasn't fully happy. Yeah,
fulfilled. Maybe.
Fulfilled, yeah. It wasn't really a rich and fulfilling life, because I was just cleaning, taking care of a baby, going to work on the weekends, and, you know, having fun and living life, but I wasn't taking risks. And risks are, like, one of the biggest things that I could tell anyone. I was before... I guess almost a year, about March, is when I started to actually kind of be on social media. And before that, I was kind of against it. Like, not necessarily against it, but I just didn't really see the benefits. I'm like, I don't want to be that person who's mindlessly on their phone all the time. Like, I want to pay attention to the people around me and actually have face-to-face conversations. But we're in a different century. Like, it's totally a different world now. And, I posted my first video on Facebook, and that was scary as hell.
I know, but I think so many people can relate, because I, a couple months ago during our 4th quarter success plan, and actually just recently too, I was like, okay, like I'll challenge people in the Artist Academy. I'll be like, okay, everybody is going live this week. And a lot of people, if they're new to the group, they have never gone live. And they're like, oh my gosh, sweating bullets. And I just kind of try to reassure them too, because the first time I ever went live, I broke out in hives, like, which is my body's reaction whenever I get stressed. My heart races, and so my skin gets flushed. And so that happened the first probably 3 or 4 or 5 times I went live on Facebook or Instagram, and then after that, like, now it's no big deal.
Yeah.
But it's just that fear, and it's so crazy how it's just so in your head.
Oh, yeah.
And it's so in my head, too, all the time. And I'm just like, but doing it so many times and just doing it over and over again, realizing, oh, I'm not going to die from this, which is really what you have to tell your body. Your body is, like, protecting you, like, the psychological aspect of it is your body is protecting you from danger.
Yeah.
And we think there's danger when there's not. It's just fear of judgment. And we just, as soon as we can, like, let that go, it's just, and really, I'm still going through it now with, like, doing public speaking stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not over that yet, but I will, hopefully. It just, my stomach curls. But anyway, yeah, just talking about fear in that. And you started showing up on Facebook, and I noticed you, and I was like, oh, look at her go.
Yeah, and then when people actually start to notice you, you get this, like, oh, like, it's really exciting, but you still have that fear a little bit, which that fear of, like, making stories or doing that, I have no more fear of that anymore.
Good.
Like, I don't. Learning things is so key to progressing. Knowledge is so powerful.
Yeah.
But actions are even more powerful. You can know so much, but if you don't ever take action, you're never going to get anywhere. Yeah.
So where are you right now in your photography career? And I'm asking that because I'm not sure exactly either. Like, what have you tried? Where are you at right now? Where are you wanting to go?
Where I'm at right now is, I've grown my photography business a lot in the past year. I've definitely had, like, I went back and was looking at my photos, and
Your photos are beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Especially the black and white ones. Every time I'm like, that, I like that. Because it's not like the, like, typical photo. It's like something a little different, and like, I'm like, oh, okay.
Well, and that's like I think the hardest thing too that a lot of people can relate to is whether you're a photographer, whether you're an artist, a painter, no matter what, there's a million other people out there who do the same thing. Yeah. Or even, like, in a small town like me, there's literally, like, a photographer on every block.
Yeah. Photography is very saturated, but...
It is.
Like,
and that's, like, I've always wanted to find, how am I different? In my head, I'm like, I could never make anything out of this just creative style, even though that was literally all in my head. People you are an amazing artist, and that's how you've made your living, is by doing art, by doing what you
Coloring.
love.
Yeah.
Coloring is way more, way more than that. I want to, now that I've been doing Andrea's Artist Academy, I, like, want to, like, pick up a pen and be as good as this one guy. I actually forget his name right now. But
Rich?
I think
Rich Marks? Is that?
Yes.
Yeah.
So good. Like,
so
good. Like, people
know.
are so talented. Like, Justin Cardoza is...
Oh, I know. He's just ridiculous.
He's a freaking nature. Like, and I mean that in the best way. He's so amazing.
But, like, he's been doing
amazing.
He's been doing it for 10 years. Like, I met him 8 years ago, and he was a photographer. That's how, or a video guy too. And he's been doing it for 10 years. And that's, like, anybody that I tell anybody, if you look at someone 10 years in their career, like Ryan, my fiance, he's been in insurance 13 years. He's doing extremely well. It's a perfect job for him. Justin, he's been in it for 10 years. Like, if you look at someone 10 years in, they're doing really well. And so it's so hard to compare yourself when you're in, like, the first year of, like, calling yourself an artist or a photographer, and you're like, oh, it's so far away. It's like, just wait 10 years. Like, keep doing exactly what you're doing, just more and more and more, and you'll be there. Like, and it's such an amazing career that doesn't have like a clear drawn out path of get this degree and you'll get this job and like, you know, and so, yeah, you doing exactly what you're doing right now, just like talking to other people is perfect. Not just me, but like everybody else.
Yeah. But it takes all those little stepping stones for us to grow. It takes, you know, learning new behaviors and new habits and new ways of doing things and kind of getting out of our own head and just keep trying over and over again and keep failing. Failing is like one of the greatest things you can do. Yeah. And I know that sounds silly, but, you know, I've had photo shoots where I'm like, okay, I literally just took really great photos at my last one, and this one, what the hell happened? Like,
what did happen though? Was it just like lighting? Was it settings?
Well, it was lighting. It was definitely lighting. It was in the middle of the day, even though as a photographer, and I highly encouraged to not do it at a specific time. Yeah. You know, sometimes you got to do what your client wants you to do. And I will, even though I'm totally comfortable behind my camera now, I still get so nervous every time I do it. But not, like, and it's only before. As soon as I start, I'm not really nervous anymore. Oh. And I've learned that, you know, like, I still want to do, we all want instant gratification. You know, a lot of people want that instant results and instant things to happen for them. And I have learned, and I just tell myself, I'm not a patient person. I've always told myself and lied to myself that I'm very patient. I'm a very patient person, but I'm not. One of the biggest things, it might have been in my Rachel Hollis book. I mean, I do so much PD. Like, I love podcasts. Yeah. And, but somewhere they told me, they're like, go talk to the people you want to be. Don't, like, if you want to be better at your finances, don't go sit there and talk to Joe over here who doesn't have his finances together, you know, who has great ideas and thinks he knows what he's talking about, but go talk to that millionaire, go talk to that person who, you know, is really good with their money and talk to them about it. You know, if you want to be a great photographer, go talk to the photographers that are really great and get to know them and learn from them, you know, because I think a lot of people, you know, some people are still, like, I've tried to talk to a few photographers and they're just competitive. And they're like, oh, you're trying to steal what I do or whatever here. And I'm like, okay, you're not my person. Yeah, exactly. You know, and, like, you're allowed to not have those people in your life. Like, and that's sometimes the hardest thing, that people feel, like, stuck with the people in their life.
Yeah, and like competition is so crazy too, because like a lot of people have told me when, especially here locally, and just like training artists here locally, just like the business ways and the art ways of it, they're like, careful, you're training your competition. And I'm like, yes, I realize that, and I might lose a couple jobs from it, and I think I have, like, in the past from just mostly, like, recommending people. Yeah. However, it's also just being really secure with my brand and being like, I know that I will be just fine. And, like, a lot of the times, like, people don't want my art, and that's totally okay. Like, a lot of people want a different style of photography. And so I might be training someone who is the perfect fit for someone else, and that's okay.
Well, that's what we're all supposed to be doing. Like just like you said, there's some, you know, everyone wants someone different. Not everyone's going to like all one thing. A lot of artists, we all enjoy different things. Yeah. We all see things, you know, differently and want different things. I was a little worried about, hey, like, I'm the only photographer on this Artist Academy page. Like, is it still? Oh, is he?
Yeah, Justin's in there.
You know, is it still okay for me to do, like, you know, be a part of this challenge? And I'm so happy that I am, because being in this challenge, I'm taking more of my creative side into it. I never associated myself as an artist until really the last couple months. And I'm like, you know, I am an artist. Yeah. Like, this is what I love to do. Like, I don't want to have a 9-to-5 job. I don't want any of that. Like, none of that has ever made me happy.
And you know, you know what's crazy? Like, I didn't realize that there are some people who want that. There's some people who truly want that.
And that's great.
Yeah, but like, for the longest time, like, this was in my head. I'm like, I never want to do that. Like, that's not my thing. I want to build my own dream. Like, blah, blah. And like, talking to some people here recently in the past year, I'm like, oh, you don't want that? Like, are you sure you don't want that? Or are you just scared? They're like, no, I don't want that. Like, I want to show up every day, be told what to do, go home and be with family. And I'm like, oh, like, I didn't know that there were people who wanted that.
Yeah.
And so it's just, like, come to my, okay, I respect that, but, like, I want this.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's great. Like, you gotta, like, if that's what you want, then be happy and okay with that. Like, I think just people as, you know, in general, we all kind of do things for other people.
Yeah.
And it's really important to, you know, not selfishly do this, but love yourself. Love yourself, love what you're doing, and love the process.
I interviewed an artist, Tram Colwyn, on the podcast, and she did small butterflies, basically, just like I'm doing now, only I'm doing them in twos. Mm-hmm. She did them on one per one, and I was just like, I love your idea so much. Is it okay if I basically copy you? And she's like, oh, please do. Like, I love being your inspiration. And I love people who think of it like that. They're like, I would love to inspire you, not you're copying me. And really, I had a hard time with that, too, because whenever I first did wings here, a lot of other people started doing wings, and I was like, they're copying me.
Yeah.
And then I'm just like, and then I was like, well, why didn't they hire me to do that? Like, and then now I'm like, whatever, you know? Like, I have enough work to keep me busy that, like, I can't physically paint every single thing that needs painted. Yeah. And so I'm like, yeah, sure, use my thing. I don't care. But it was a progression with me even, too. It was like going from, they're kind of copying me, to whatever, I'm inspiring you, look what I'm doing. It's like a legacy living on.
Yeah. And, like, having grace with yourself. And it's hard to do that, and that took probably time for you, too, to get over that feeling and to get over, you know, that instant mentality. Because, like, we're human beings, and it's so quick to go to negative feelings or to thinking that, but, like, it's okay to feel that way too.
Yeah,
like,
that's
be
so
okay.
True.
Be okay with feeling jealous, or be okay with feeling like, okay, that person's copying me, or just wanting to be just like me. It's okay to be in that for a little while.
Yeah,
but as long as you can get out of that and have grace and turn it into something positive, or turn it into something inspirational.
True.
You know, or even if you just have to feel like that, but move on from it, you know?
Yes, exactly. I actually have an Instagram post written out, but I'm like, I don't know if this is too feely or whatever. It's a post about jealousy, and how recently, like, I used to be such a jealous person, and, like, that's just how I grew up. I was never taught, like, hey, you know, she's not taking away from me, or he's not, like, I was such a jealous person. And then just recently, especially in the past few years, I've been like, oh, it's okay to be jealous, because literally everyone is jealous, like, for a certain degree, but it's how you react to jealousy that determines who you are as a person. And it's okay to be like, oh, I wish I had that, but, like, go her, and that gives me something to strive for. And because I read in a book, again, a personal development book, of someone was like, look at the people who you're jealous of, really think why. Like, why every time do you see them succeeding, or, like, looking really good, or whatever? Like, why? And it's because a lot of the times you want to be that way. And I'm like, use it as inspiration. And I'm like, oh, you're so right.
And it's so frustrating too, when you have those, like, Rachel, I don't like you right now, because you're so right.
Even, like, artists who are, like, further along than me, and I'm like, how are you getting 10 print orders in this week? Like, how does that happen? Like, how is it fair? And I'm like, okay, back up. She's been doing print orders for, like, a year, promoting them every day. Like, okay, that's why. Like, I'm doing murals. That's why I'm not getting, like, this and that. Yeah. And so it's just breaking it down into, like, okay, do I want to do the work that she's done? Or, and some part of it's luck. A little bit of it's luck, but a lot of it is just, like, showing up and being consistent and doing all of that and making your art good enough and making just, like, doing all these things. And so just turning jealousy into inspiration. Yeah. Recently, it's kind of like a transformation in my head because of personal development books.
It is, and that's what I try to do. And, like, when, like, Andrea asked me to think about where I am right now and to think about where I want to go, like, then all of a sudden I was like, I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, it really made me think, and it made me sit there and, like, oh, okay. But I want to be what I truly want to be, because, like, even in, like, your own family or the people that you're always with, like, life's a mess. Like, life is just a mess. But it can be a beautiful mess. If you let it. And I want to be an inspiration to others. Yeah. And I just want to show people and teach people that your dreams can come true, and that habits, you know, you can change what you do every day and have the life that you want. You really can.
I'm such a believer too, and like things, when you're doing truly what you're meant to be doing, like things will start to open up for you, not without effort, but it will. Like, and so a lot of times too, I pay attention to like with ex-boyfriends even, I'm like, if things just are so hard and are not working out, like that's a sign. Like it shouldn't be so forced. And I think with relationships, with a career like that, I mean, it's going to be hard.
Yeah.
But
don't let that be your excuse either.
Exactly.
Because it's what you want to do is going to be hard at times. But
we're like giving each other a pep talk.
I know.
We need it though.
Yeah, I mean, this is why you do this, which I just messaged Andrea and just asked her, I'm like, because we've known each other like practically our whole lives. Yeah. And I'm like, I just want to get together and talk, because that's all I'm wanting to do now is network with people and talk about business, because every time I do, like I've already went out on a photo shoot with one photographer. Maybe that was, now I can't remember the date, but it was like last year, not a couple months ago. And I learned a couple of things from doing that. So by talking with people and by just chit-chatting, and I just wanted to chit-chat about life and kind of ask her, like, hey, how do I really create this business? Where do I start to create a website? Like, how do I do all that? And
where are you at right now? Do you have a website or no?
I don't. I just have, right now I'm just on social media.
That's fine. Yeah.
So totally.
Do you have a Facebook page? You do?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have a Facebook page. Okay. And, like, then Andrea asked me if we could do a podcast. And so I thought that was really funny, because I was like, I wonder if Andrea's going to ask me about doing a podcast. But this is great. Yeah. Because talking out like this, and
it's also really fun, too. I like to keep these, like, it's like a capsule,
Yeah.
And, like, in a year from now, we can look back on it and be like, oh, I was so confused about this, and that, and I don't even remember it. And now look where we are.
Yeah.
Like, it's so fun.
Yeah, it will be really cool to kind of come back after a year.
In 2021.
Yeah. That will be really cool.
So, okay, back to where you are right now. So, do you say, like, with your photography, you do something like once a month, twice a month, every week? Like,
it's been once or twice a month for me lately.
Okay, yeah.
And I love that. Like, I kind of forgot to finish that, but I had looked at all my photos, and I had photographed something all 12 months last year.
Okay, yeah.
And that's something that hasn't, it would either be like, in September I had 3 or 4 big things, but then August and July, or there was gaps.
Yeah.
And that made me like so happy. That kind of reassured me, like, I'm really progressing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm really moving towards something, and that is my goal, is to have like I have, of course, like a financial goal that I want to fill every month. But yeah, I'm about 1 to 2 shoots a month now.
Okay, yeah.
And that's so different from where to like maybe 3 or 4 a year. But that was on me, because I wasn't really putting myself out there.
Yeah.
I wasn't taking those steps to really promote myself.
Yeah.
Or, it would just be a little bit of word of mouth. With word of mouth is great. That's how you really progress, but if you're not putting yourself out there, you won't.
And really, truly, I say this all the time, though, it takes like one person for you to meet one person, and then you go from like, kind of busy there to you're busy.
Yeah.
And you're like, you're going. And it really takes that one person who has a certain number of connections. And luckily, I know a lot of people. Ryan knows a lot of people. And so with the two of us, we've helped out with a lot. But there's so many people, too, that just, they meet one person who owns a gym, and you're photographing the whole gym and like all of their photos and stuff like that, or a salon. Like this lady who I go to for my hair, she was talking about that too, because I talk about business all the time with literally every business owner, and she's like, she was in this one business, I can't remember exactly what it was, and she did this one lady's hair there, and now she does the whole office building, and it's like awesome. That, and it just takes that one person. And the funny thing is, you never know where that person's going to come from, so you just have to shoot it out into like this group and that group and do this and show up for that photography club at Big Whiskey's and like and just all these things. And okay, so I guess just figuring out what you want to do would help, I guess. But just to like, so right now, are you getting stuff like from word of mouth, or are you like messaging people and asking?
Before Beachbody, I would never ask.
Right.
Never.
Yeah.
But now, when people comment or make certain comments, I will go to them and say, so, hey, girl, I would love to photograph, your little, your little one, or, know, and...
Do most everybody want it for free? Or do you...
I've never had anyone who's wanted it for free.
Oh, nice. Okay.
But I've had a lot of people turn me down because they're just like, I can't afford that.
Yeah.
And, I don't even, there's some photographers who charge $300 for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's definitely not my prices. You do have to know your demographic, too, a little bit. And that's just not realistic for where I am at in my life right now.
Yeah. And whenever I started out, too, my prices were super low because I was like, I want to be busy. I don't care. I'll do stuff for next to free. I want to be busy. Yeah. And what happens with that, there's a magical thing in that where if you do something for one customer, that customer is going to get you another job. Not all the time, but a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And you don't have to charge that next to nothing for the next customer either, just because you charged it for that one just to stay busy. You can be like, hey, no problem. These are my rates. You don't even have to don't even sweat. It's just be busy. And it's so a lot of people are like, well, she's charging $100 an hour. Maybe I should charge $75, because I'm up there, but I don't know. But if people aren't paying $75, charge $30. I don't care. Whenever I started out in art, I was doing $30 an hour, which was a lot for me. Especially then, and I was fine with it. I didn't care.
And I do, I'll totally work with people. I'm these are your moments. These are your memories, and I want to give you good ones because, I'm sure most artists or most photographers, you see people in really special days, but they're just horrible photos or something. And I know it just sounds bad, but and then people I know for me, there's been certain moments in my life I'm I really wanted captured, but I didn't. I didn't do it, or just I had an excuse or whatever. And I know that's happened with so many people because I've had people come back to me and say, I really wish I would have just kind of gone with you. Mm-hmm. And, and I'll work with people. I'm hey, if you need to do 2 payments or if you need to do this, and you do got to be careful about stuff like that. But I've never had a bad experience with that, with people who do weddings for me. They do, I've had quite, a couple people do monthly payments.
Yeah, me too.
And
or
and I do. Yeah. And that's what I do now. I will totally reach out to people now. And I could probably do more of that. I probably should do maybe a little bit more of that, of reaching out to people. But yeah, now I'm oh, there's cute kids, or they're getting married, and I get tagged in a lot of stuff too.
Okay, yeah.
I'll get tagged in a lot of photographer needed.
Oh yeah.
And of course there's 50 million other, so
you never know.
But then I will personally message that person and talk to them, and it's, that's how you got to do it. It takes work to get work.
It does. Yeah, I remember for the first year, so when I worked for Bass Pro quite a bit, I was gone. Then I came back and I had one customer, and if they didn't need me, what was I gonna do? And so I came back and I was okay, I need to get busy. So I started messaging everyone. And I was hey, can I paint on your wall? Can I do this? Can I create street art here? And then it took a year. And finally, it started to come back, and people were hey, you did this around town. Can you do this for me? And I'm finally. But it was one of 5 things that I would pitch, I would get, and I was just exhausted, and it was just back and forth and so much time and effort. But it takes that in the beginning, and I think a lot of people don't talk about that.
No, it's people don't people, like I said earlier, kind of want that instant gratification on things, and I do too. I want to look at my phone right now and there be 50 people who want my photography services. Maybe not 50.
So overwhelming.
But definitely probably not that many. But that'd be cool just to open my phone and always have someone need my services.
What would you want them requesting you for?
I really, really want someone to request me for something that they want, like art on their wall. That flower photo. I loved that flower photo that I posted. Or just those unique, fun photos. And I love weddings too. I love talking to people about weddings, and I love talking to the brides about what they want and what they...
Okay, so if you had a chance to if you could get a call to say, hey, can you photograph my wedding? Or, hey, can you put I need prints for my wall. Which one would it be?
Prints for the wall.
Okay, that's good. So what I would say, and this is something that I have kind of learned here recently, interior decorators, go meet them, all of them. I have my best client from last year. He was about 30% of my total revenue last year, and it came from a interior decorator recommendation.
I never even
I know, right?
About that.
And Ryan was the one who told me about that. He just kind of was like, well, they need art, right? They need photography too, prints. Yeah. And I have been wanting to create like abstracts and stuff for hotels and stuff like that for them, because a lot of interior decorators around here, the one that I know specifically, she's designed a couple hotels. And actually the job that I did yesterday and I'm doing tomorrow, which is a law firm, I got the job through her, and I'm doing specialized art, but she also puts prints and stuff. So really just showing your stuff to them, like pricing it accordingly to where it's up there, where it seems like, and price is a whole nother thing.
It really is. Like if you have a low price, people think you're cheap and think your stuff isn't.
But if it's too up there, people won't use you. And so it has to be in this like weird, and so meeting interior decorators is huge. And if you have stuff that you think you could put in hotel rooms, like, I mean, and a lot of people say, oh, that's commercial work or whatever. I don't care. Like, to me, dealing with a business is way easier than dealing with a person, because with a business, it's the cost of doing business. You know, they just paid $3,000 for a desk and $2,000 for 10 chairs in their office. Like me, like charging them, you know,
and they don't like white walls.
Exactly. and me charging them $900 to do a logo or whatever, and it's like, okay, like they usually don't argue with me on it. Whereas a person, and it depends on the person, you know, but the kind of people that I have grown up around, like they don't want to spend money on art. Like if I tell someone it's $100 for a print, they're like, oh, never mind. Like, and that's just, so I've just thought about that, and I'm like, okay, who do I want to deal with? I want to deal with businesses. That's if someone were to be in my inbox, they would be a business who wants a mural. That's what I want.
Yeah. And so, that's a really good way to look at it. I've never ventured out to businesses before.
Yeah. And
like, that's never even where my like thought process has even gone to yet. And I'm excited to dive into that. Like, I'm excited to try that out, because that's true. Like, going to, like, I'll drive around Springfield and I see your art or whatever, and that's so amazing to me. Like, it makes me so proud of you, and it's just so cool to see art throughout places, you know.
Really, what I would do if I were you, just to get a website, and I've heard WordPress is pretty good if you're tech savvy at all. You can, and really with WordPress, you can Google anything. So if you get stuck, Google it. Someone has made a YouTube video how to do exactly what you want to do.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I have forgot to mention. And even with the price thing, Google, YouTube, like, trust your instincts too, because I can tell usually within like a couple minutes of watching something if this guy's worth finishing, you know, continuing to watch or not, you know. But use the things that are literally right here at your hands.
Right now you're writing down like WordPress, and so one day would be, or 1 week would be like set up a website, and then the next step would be you know make that website a little bit better, and then because a lot of the times with websites too, I've noticed anytime I make a new website or whatever, I'll change it later, and so when I took a course at the beginning of the year last year with Amy Porterfield, and she was just like, just put it up, call it good, doesn't have to be perfect, the colors don't have to be exact, just put it up, go on. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's, I think, part of the reason why I don't have one now, because I had attempted to do one a couple years ago. Yeah. And I just, OCD, and like so needed to be perfect that I just gave up on it.
I would say the more white space, the better, and let your art be the thing, which is what a lot of, like, whenever my first website was like black background, red writing, like, because I like black and red. Yeah. And no, like, on your website, people don't want to see a fancy website. They want to see white walls, which is what art is hanging on, what prints are hanging on. Yeah. White walls and a clean, crisp photo with a clean, crisp description and a price. That's what people want to see. And maybe a story behind it. You know, not a lot of photographers are doing that. And so with you doing that, like, I think that would really make it stand out. Like, this is the story behind it.
Kind of what I was telling you how I've been wondering, like, how can I create inspiration and hope and help change people's lives, you know, by by photography, and that would be a great way to do that, is with a story.
Yeah, so that could be your thing. So like I would even challenge you to, like, the next time you put up a photo, write a paragraph on what inspired you. And I think a lot of people too, even artists, like they put up their photo and they'll hide behind, like they won't be in it a lot of the times, and they'll just put it up and there you go, like this is a finished product. No, tell the viewer, why did you paint that? How long did it take you? You know, these are the things people are wondering. Like and even with time lapses, which you don't really have that, or you could put up your editing process. I love to see other photographers' editing processes. I
need to do that, because there's a photographer on my photo mentorship page that I'm on. He was like, okay, how did you do that? Where did you look up? Like, how did you get this idea of your Blackout series? And like, I was like, okay, so maybe I need to create like a how I did that. Yeah. So
yeah, or even just putting it in the caption, because a lot of people will ask me, "Hey, how did you take that photo?" "Oh, I took it with a tripod." And then they're like, "Where did you get the tripod?" And I send them an Amazon link. Yeah. Like that thing. It's like, oh, well, you already have it. It's like other people want to know. Mm-hmm. And so, but with the teaching thing, you'll attract other photographers. Mm-hmm. So if you're wanting, which is me, which I'm wanting to attract other artists, which is why I'm like, teach how-to things. With a lot of people, they'll do that because they see me doing that, and I'm like, no, like if you're trying to attract a buyer, not all the time do they want to know your, like, everything, how you created that, but they do want to know your inspiration behind it, how long something took, why you did it, why you're so happy about it, like just all the thing, like what made you do that, and do that. And also just writing down your big goal, like you want people to buy your prints for their offices, homes, businesses, whatever. So I would say the first thing to do, get a WordPress, make a website, get your like a portfolio up, and that's the same thing with artists too. And also organize it as such into different themes, and see what themes are reoccurring. So like if you do like a black and white flower series or something, I mean, just to state the obvious, but like go to flower shops and be like, hey, I've created these. Do you need any kind of photos for your website? Do you need any kind of photos for this? Because a lot of the times they'll need photos for their branding materials or their promotion on social media. Social media is huge. Be like, hey, I can provide you 6 months worth of photos for your social media for this price. Let's work together. Even just getting into the whole social media thing and going to businesses like flower shops or things that you want to do, whether it's, I have no idea what it could be, but just because you just recently did flowers, that's a really good, and just having that portfolio to literally show them right there, hey, I've done these. Do you want something like this? Yeah. You put yourself out there enough, and then people randomly find you. Yeah. And actually just recently, this craziest thing. And so I'm not sure if you would be all about like the whole meditation thing or not.
I love yoga and I love meditation. Yeah. If that was the only way I could work out, I would. Yeah. I love cardio and stuff, but I'd much rather stretch.
Something happened to me recently, and I can call it like foo-foo or whatever, but I'm just so big into when you open up and give yourself time and space and you're really putting out love, and that you're going to get it back. But this past year I was so busy, and I just I felt so weighed down that this past January I was like, okay, I'm just going to give myself space to unstress, de-stress, and see what happens. And I started listening to this meditations book. It's on my recommended list of books, and it's like one of the last ones on there, and it's the only one that talks about meditation. And while I was listening to it, it's a bit more spiritual than I like to be. However, I was like, okay, let me just buy into it for a second and just open my mind to it. And I got this message literally while I was listening to this book from this guy who wanted to put my art on cruise ships. And he gave me this big spiel about how he wanted to fly me out to cruise ships and do this big thing and sell my art, and it'd be a vacation and a thing. And I'm just this is a little too good to be true. But and he wanted to because I literally just put out into the universe that I want to do more canvas stuff because I have scoliosis. My back I can't do murals for very long. Yeah. Especially when I'm older. And so I'm I need to start working on canvas stuff that doesn't stress it. So I was like, I'm going to start doing more canvases. And I just got this call from this guy who wants to order like 20 paintings from me. And
I totally believe in all of
and
that.
it was while I was listening to the book. And like during the book, they were talking about like people who were listening to the book and how things started coming to them once they start opening it up. And I'm like, this is just a little too crazy.
Yeah.
And so for a while I was like, this is too good to be true. But literally today, he booked my flight, and Ryan's flight. We're going to fly down to Georgia in like a month to go visit him, and we're going to like sign the contracts and stuff.
That's
and I'm
amazing.
just like, and
That's
I'm just
so
like,
amazing.
and so, but I also want to say, like, and not to brag about any of that or anything, but it's like he found me on Instagram. That's how he found me, and he saw a bunch of video that I was doing, so he got to know my personality.
People love
which
videos.
is huge.
Videos are really big
because he has a much older crowd, and he liked my art because it was younger, just in general. And he's like, we need to market to younger crowd. And he's like, I saw you on video, and the way you presented yourself was somebody who we wanted to represent our company. And I'm like, if I didn't have that video, he might not have called. No. And so when people are like, hey, I'm so scared to do lives, I'm like, you're putting yourself out there, and you never know what can happen. Yeah. And like, I don't know if this deal is going to happen or whatever, but
but it's an amazing opportunity.
Yeah, and that came from Instagram, from going to my Instagram, from showing up on video all the time, and just doing all of that. And so that was like kind of a shot in the dark of like amazing things can happen, and like when you like open yourself up to it, and when you're really doing the thing you love. And a lot of people, like, they get those, I call them like little strokes of luck, like I call it like a little luck fairy is like following you around, and if you're working, like she'll give you some luck. And a lot of it is hard work, and like around here I've really had to build up my thing from shooting out emails and getting ignored and all that, but then you get these little strokes of luck from little things that you're doing. And so when I tell people, get on video, post every day, like, you just never know what can come from it.
No, you have to take you have to get out of your comfort zone.
I just had this conversation with Rich Marks, actually, and because he has great art, and he has no following because he hasn't tried really.
Yeah.
And he'll put stuff on there, and he's like, how do I grow my Instagram? I'm like, okay, there's a number of things. So hashtags work. Just hashtag every single time. A lot of times I'll put it in my notes section of my phone. I'll have like 30 hashtags in like different sections.
Copy and paste it.
Copy and paste it. Other than that, one thing that's really helped me grow is there are like art featuring pages on Instagram. So like pages that feature everybody else's art, and it's usually some foreign man and like some guy from India that's like, hey, you pay for a feature, blah blah blah. Like, they'll message me sometimes, message people, but they basically are just art featuring pages. So one's like artwork in studio. It's like artwork _ studio, and just ones like that. Once you find one, you'll just go to like the ones that are, you'll click the drop down thing, and you'll see other pages that are similar to that page, and you'll go and you'll like them. So for you, I'm sure they have a ton of photography.
I actually have seen a few of those.
Yeah, that's huge. And so the first thing I'll do, so before you pay for a feature on any of that, because a lot of people will want that. So it starts with creating a really good photo, and which you have. And so when I tell artists too, like, your photos have to be good, and I take mine on my iPhone and I edit them. Every single one of my photos is edited in some way, whether it's just to brighten it up or highlights or contrast or something. It's all edited. Make the whites white. I ever tell everybody, make the whites white.
I remember something you posted or something you said a while ago.
Make the whites white. Do it. I hate seeing off-white things. Like, make the whites white. And so make sure you have a good photo, because they will not share your photo without you having a good photo. Look at other photos that they have on there. Make sure yours isn't going to be like just completely off the wall, does not go with their genre. And so I will use their hashtag. So I'll hashtag artwork in studio, and I'll tag them in my photo, and so that gets their attention. And so you can go and you can hashtag and tag them. And I know it's a lot of work, because every time I go to tag people, I'm like, oh, I just search tag.
I honestly never realized that that's kind of different. Like, I knew it was different, but I never thought about, like, tagging specific pages that I want my artwork featured on.
Because really, that's how I found Rich Marks. Like, he was on the podcast, he was in the 31-day challenge, and, like, he started tagging me. And I was like, hey, like, do you want to be on the podcast? Like, it works. If your stuff is good enough, it will work. But I get tagged in a lot of stuff that's not very good all the time.
Yeah.
And so as long as your stuff is good, if you tag people and you tag those art featuring pages, they will either share it automatically because you're sharing them, or they'll message you and say, hey, it'll be this much for this feature, and I have paid for them before. Like in artwork in studio, I paid so much to where I think it was like $150 or something for recently. Actually, yeah, it was like $150 because I just messaged this to Emily earlier this morning, and I sent her a screenshot of my whole conversation with them. I paid them $150 to share my artwork from 50K to 60K. And so they've just been sharing it. Maybe once a week they'll share something new. It kind of depends on if I post something really good, they'll share it.
Yeah.
And so that just gets more followers, and it's taken forever for me to grow from 50 to 60K.
Yeah.
But it helps. And to me, it attracts other artists, which is what I want. It attracts some buyers, I'll say.
Yeah.
It's the buyers who really love art is what it'll do. But for me, it attracts a lot of other artists, which is what I want. Subscription-based model is my new thing. So just like recurring revenue.
I
do
love
that with
your
postcards.
Yeah. I love that.
And then also with the Artist Academy, a monthly fee. And it's a small monthly fee. So what if you offered like a subscription or some kind of thing to where every 6 months you came in and you gave, or every once a year or something, you gave in, you approached a flower shop, say, and if they wanted to switch up the photos or whatnot, it was a thing to where you pay a fee, and then it's a smaller fee every year. And you came in and you talked to them about their brand and like what's new, what are they wanting to promote this year, and if it's like roses are the big thing this year, but then calla lilies are the big thing next year, like you'll put photos up of them, or like just
on
like
their websites, and things
and
like
just
that.
get a contract or like a floating contract of like, this is, we don't have to sign anything at first, or you might sign something.
Yeah.
I don't know. And just to be like, keep getting, because like with people cleaning houses, like they want them every week,
Yeah.
And you want to, so like anything, just like, so I think with you specifically to get quick jobs, social media is a good way of like you providing social media photos for a lot of the businesses around here, because that's a big thing. And what I like to do a lot of times is look at outside of the Midwest and what's working. And there are a lot of social media photographers on the coasts, and there's not a lot here. And so getting into that and saying, hey, I can do photos for your social media. I know what followers, what will make people hit the like button, and really just immersing yourself into finding out exactly what that is too. So you become an expert on that. Yeah. And like growing your own Instagram, like, and really putting a lot of effort into your own Instagram to say, I grew mine from 200 to 2,000 in 2 months. Yeah. I can do the same for you. And you're at a point right now where you're starting from where a lot of other people are starting from. Yeah. And you can say, I did this for myself. I'll do it for you. Yeah. And
that's a really, really good. It definitely makes me just want to go home and like write down like business plans and like
or we can do it now. Like
we could just do it now.
I love it. I love talking about business. Yeah. And it just helps to have like fresh eyes too, because a lot of the times like with me on your business, like with Ryan, I'm like I'm too far in it, like this is what I have, what should I do? And like I'll give him options, and like he'll help me think of things, because we're too far in, like we can't even see what other people are seeing. Like the thing that you see the most on my thing, I don't even know what it is. And like with yours too. And so I really like this business. If you like it, I
love this idea. Like, I absolutely love this idea. And it's something I've never thought of. Yeah. Like, I've never thought of, like, I guess in just this, like, small mind thinking, like, you just photograph weddings, you photograph infants, and you photograph seniors and people. Like, that's all you do.
Yeah. And with my thing with art, like, a lot of the times I don't even care about getting into a gallery. I don't care. To me, getting into a gallery is where a bunch of other artists are, and that can work. However, I want to go where the other artists are not. Yeah. I want to go where artists, so like with street art, I took something that was working on the coast and brought it here, and people freaking loved it. Yeah. I think I have never heard of a social media content creator, photographer in Missouri yet. Doesn't mean they're not here. But I haven't seen it advertised. I've seen like boudoir, all these other things, but I haven't heard of that yet. Yeah. And that's always what I've been like always wanted and strived to do, because
I don't want to be like everybody else.
And that's where the magic is, too.
Like, I just don't. Like, I love creating beautiful photos, and I love capturing those moments, but, like, that's not all I want to be.
Yeah.
Like, I want to inspire people, and I want to, like, now I'm loving this idea of creating social media photos for people.
And also, like, you're
like,
telling stories. And so you can help them with their captions, you know? Of like, hey, I create meaningful photos with meaningful captions. And that's the thing that sells on Instagram. I've even
found out that I'm really great at, like, writing cards.
Perfect! Exactly!
Like, I'm like, dang, this is like a really good card.
Yeah. I mean, really, you could make yourself so busy.
I know. I never thought of myself as a writer. Like, I didn't hate English, but I wasn't a fan of English in high school. Loved all my English classes in college. Absolutely loved them all. And then, like, you know, recently with me doing all of these things over the last year, I'm like, I'm pretty good at, like, putting some words together. And that's something that I'm, like, just, you know, really, like, found out that I'm kind of good at, and, like, I enjoy.
Yeah.
Because I have so much in my head constantly going all the time. But when I write it out, which is something I've always done, I just have a free writing journal that I'll write in just randomly just to get stuff out. Like, I don't even really know what I'm writing. And so I've always wrote. Like, I've always been a writer.
Yeah, and just kind of market it to where, like, you can focus on the things in your business that, you know, really bring you life. And because that's what I'm doing with Artist Academy. I'm like, imagine if you didn't have to worry about the business side of it. Like, here, let me show you what to do. Just do what I say.
Yeah, no, and it's genius. And it's like such a good thing. And it brings people together, and it gets people out of that shell that so many artists are in, because it is hard to make a living. Yeah. You know, if you just don't know what to do. Like, you know, for so long, I'm like, I don't even know where to begin. Like, what do I even put in the search engine? You know? Yeah. Do I just put in the search engine? Where do I begin?
Yeah, exactly. I used to do artistic styles. Because I was like, I need to find my art style. I don't know. My dad was like, you need a specific thing. And I'm like, okay, so, like, how do I find that? He's like, I don't know. I'm like, well, me either, Dad. Like, yeah, it's like finding out what to Google and, like, all that. But yeah, so create a website, sign up for Google Analytics too. There's also, if you just Google how to sign up for Google Analytics on your website, there will be a video. It'll be the first one that pops up, and it'll show you exactly how to set it up. So easy, and you do it when you first do it, and then, because that just helps you track things, and you'll want that information like a couple years from now, and yeah, it just helps just to do, like, where your followers are and where people are coming from. Are they mostly male? Are they mostly female? And then that can, like, also help you to track or just to speak to females or males or whatnot.
Thank you so much for having me on this podcast. I really enjoyed it, and I look forward to growing my business. Thank you.
Yeah, let me know if you have any questions, and I'll talk to you guys next week. This episode is sponsored by the Artist Academy Advanced Membership, a program for artists who want to up-level their art game by taking it from a hobby or a side hustle to a full-time six-figure art business. With weekly trainings that include step-by-step proven art business techniques, plus painting tutorials from yours truly and other guest artists who are masters in their field, you will be well equipped to learn and grow into the highly skilled and highly profitable artist you know you're meant to be. I've figured out what it takes to build my own six-figure art business, and now my heart is set on teaching aspiring artists like you to do the same. It's not hard, but it does require your time and dedication. So, if you're up for the challenge, go to advancedmember.com. That's advancedmember.com to learn more. If you've enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. If you review our podcast and send a screenshot of that review to me on Instagram, I am at Art by Andrea Earhart. I will then promote your art on my story and tag you as a little thank you for helping me grow this podcast and our Artist Academy community. I have a reach of over 50,000 on Instagram, so this is a little help me to help you incentive. Also, if you ever want your questions answered in real time by myself or featured guests, then just hop on over to facebook.com/groups/Artist Academy to check out the schedule every Tuesday to catch us on live. I'll see you next week.